Morning, everybody.
Morning, Bill.
Again. And usually when we have a guest speaker and I have the honor of introducing them, I'll say welcome or bienvenue or bienvenidos or willkommen. Those are the only welcomes I know, but apparently Bonvenon is the one that I should use today for our guest speaker, who will speak to us about Esperanto. Sherry Wells was invited to join Rotary in 2009. Esperanto was her very first fellowship. She volunteered in the Esperanto booth in Fellowship Hall at the Rotary Convention in New Orleans in 2011. Sherry was active in the Detroit area through 2017. She rejoined Rotary in November 2024 and sponsored new hubby David Yaki, who we can see the top of his head on the screen there. And this past January, they are members of the E-Club Esperanto, founded in a district in Brazil. Its members from 6 continents speak only Esperanto for their hour together each week. Together, they've given talks about Esperanto and fellowships in general due to the connection between the two. They work to promote Esperanto to the world and Rotary to the world of Esperanto. They live in Edmonton, Alberta during the summer and attended the 2025 convention. David previously lived in Calgary and for 6 of those years operated the Calgary Esperanto Center. In June, the two staffed the Esperanto booth. During the week, David collected more than 1,000 promises from Rotarians.
100.
12. And he'll be part of today's presentation, but now please give a warm St. Clair welcome to Sherry Wells.
I'm looking around at this group, and this should be fascinating. Esperanto was the very first Rotary Fellowship. How many of you know what a Rotary Fellowship is? Okay, how many of you are members of a Rotary Fellowship? All right, that's why I heard from a couple different people. One is a Detroit Rotarian, and in Thunder Bay, we were going to be speaking about the first Rotary Fellowship in Thunder Bay, and the guy said, well, normally we don't have our first weekday of our first Rotary Club in May meeting is not usually held because we have an event, but this is important. Can you talk about fellowships? So we've revised a lot of what we were doing to talk about fellowships in the first place, because as a Detroit person, a lot of people don't know about them. And he had said the same thing. Fellowships are, as I explained to non-Rotary people, you had Rotary started in Chicago with a club, and then it grew into many clubs and then districts. And in 1928, I just discovered that Esperanto was what started the whole fellowship idea. And I'm particularly thrilled about that, as I'll tell you. They started that as a special interest groups worldwide, a global special interest group. The next one didn't happen until 1947, and that was yachting. And they said, we're the oldest. In 2011, when I was at the New Orleans, where I got the badge, the yachting people said, we're the oldest. I said, no. They said, well, we're the oldest continuously running. I said, yes, because you didn't have Hitler messing over Esperanto and Rotary and so many other things. So we came to some kind of agreement at that point. So in 1928, Esperanto was the first fellowship. The next one wasn't until 1947. Sometimes as I'm reading these thick books about Rotary can get a little stodgy. In that same year, the foundation was established. Now they had a fundraising pool, but it stayed at the same $26.50 for years until someone said, let's make it more official. So in 1928, they established the word and the concept of foundation. And in 1928 was also fellowship. Now, the convention that year was in Minneapolis in 1928. In 2028, they're planning it to be in Minneapolis again. And I have already volunteered to be on the planning committee because I think their theme should be foundation and fellowships. So I've got 2.5 years to get a lot more known about Esperanto and tie the two together, because the foundation has done a lot more worldwide than any single club could do, but the Esperanto Fellowship is also worldwide, and you'll hear more about it now. So see what I can pull off for the 100th anniversary of both the foundation and fellowships. So there are now, oh, I should have your trivia person do this one.
Oh.
How many fellowships in Rotary? Are there 60, 90, or 117? 90?
117.
117.
Yeah, because it's an odd number. Why did I come up with it? 117. They added 4 more last year. When we spoke to the Winnipeg Rotary group, because that was the first one that made Rotary international. So I thought, well, that's a very appropriate place to go speak about Esperanto. Okay. We need to. Is that working? Online? Okay.
Green. Look green.
Oh, that green perimeter. Okay, then it's hearing me. In Winnipeg, this one man sitting in front knew about fellowships. He said there used to be a camping one. It doesn't exist anymore. So it does change, but anyone can start a fellowship if you have any special interest group that isn't already one of those 117. And it's a way to unite Rotarians all over the world. Some of the fellowships are hobby things. Some of them are part of peace or other types of work that Rotary does. And when I was researching for that, to expand our talk to include fellowships, I found out there are action groups. They've been around for 10 years. Okay, someone knows about that. And so we were attending a peace action group when we were in Calgary. We had the booth, just like I was in the Esperanto booth in 2011 in New Orleans, while another Rotarian and I were staffing the booth. Up comes this pair of people, this married couple, speaking Esperanto to us. They were from the Ukraine. That was wonderful. And then after Fellowship Hall closed for the day, the husband took his wife and I out for a beer.
There are beer fellowships too.
Oh, in Calgary, we had the Esperanto booth, oldest Rotarian fellowship, and I was telling people how to find us. The beer, wine, and gin was right the same aisle that we were in. Yeah, well, they weren't giving out free samples, and people were so disappointed. But at least at our booth, what is he? Okay, David, why are you holding up?
We're already 5 minutes in.
I'm having too much fun. Don't interrupt.
Okay.
Esperanto Antawan and the Promise Project. And the Promise Project it was over 100, not 1,000, but we were working on it. And so you're going to be part of this Promise Project. Esperanto Antawan, it means Esperanto forward. And he got that suggested name when he had an internship in Switzerland. And you'll hear a bit more about that when we get to what pulled him into Esperanto. So the first question is, Davido?
So normally I ask these questions of people individually. So I ask them, how much do they already know about Esperanto? And there's 4 choices: nothing, a little, some, or a lot.
So
And I wonder if you could...
Sorry.
Nothing, a little, some, or a lot.
Before this morning. How many of you had heard about Esperanto before?
Yeah.
Okay.
We know what it is? No.
Okay, there were what, about 4 people?
We've heard of it, but we know from you guys, but not much else.
So I was going to say, we've been here twice before, so you were paying attention. Thank you. Dankon multe. All right. And
So-
the rest of,
Is that like
okay.
thank you very many?
Hmm?
Is that like thank you very many?
Yes, it is. I'm going to get to people like you because I'm looking around at the people. Okay.
We've been trying to do that. Window in this bathroom window back in.
Do, Davido, do.
Okay, so Esperanto is a language. How many of you speak another language fluently?
Uno, two,
Is propane
three,
down?
kvar. Okay, that's what I was guessing. All right, because I was looking around thinking we've got some fluent other language speakers here, which is not typical in the U.S. or Canada. Worse in the U.S., of
They
course.
don't want to admit it, but they probably know some Spanish.
So how many, Sherry?
4
Okay,
out of 12 people.
all right.
4, 2, 4, 5. And who knows? You know Scottish. There's some French Canadian stuff that people know and they don't admit with me probably.
Well, someone asked about the fluent profanity, and that's okay.
6 or 7.
6 or 7. All right. That'll be great for statistics.
Bob knows Big Lad.
Most people who study another language don't become fluent without an extended period of immersion where they're surrounded by the language. Esperanto is quite different. It started as a planned language that was very carefully designed to be as easy as possible to learn.
Even an American can learn it. All right. Mi alvi,
You can do this?
dankon. The picture of the young man, he grew up in a town in what is now Poland. And in that city, it had been run over by the Lithuanian Empire, the German Empire, the Russian Empire, and there was quite a community of Jewish people. So there were 4 different languages in that town, and the hostility from people saying, Dumkop, you don't understand me. Why should I buy from you in the market? And David said, what I read didn't go into how violent that had been getting. And this young man was very, very bothered by that. He thought we need a way to communicate. A second language, it's always been created to be a second language, not to replace your own. And so he was actually...
That is in Russian language?
Oh, yes. Do you speak Russian?
I can read and I can understand. I don't speak. I speak different language, but I know this alphabet.
All right, David, we have someone who knew that was the Russian, that the very first book he published, and it even says "po Rusoi" in Esperanto means for Russians, that that was the Unua Libro, the very first book about Esperanto, was to teach Russian speakers and readers about it. He was using it in high school, gymnasium, whatever they call it. And he and his buddies were speaking it to each other. He went away to university like a good son, became an eye doctor because his patients don't die on him. And when he was 27, with the help of his father-in-law, got that book published. And it was published in other languages as well. 1905 was their first convention. This was published in 1887. Where are we next? Okay. What makes it so easy? Phonetic spelling, 28 letters. What you hear is what you get. Each letter has only one sound. And anyone studied Spanish?
Yes.
Okay, two of us. In Spanish, the vowels are a, e, I, o, u, the same in Esperanto, one sound for them. David goes on to tell how many different ways you can pronounce the letter A, but we'd be here all night. We did some heavy discussion last night about what goes in here and how long we're going to get away with keeping you. So simple grammar. There's one word for the. Just like in English, it's got a good point, la. So as David remembers me saying 20 years ago when we first met at an Esperanto conference on Vancouver Island, that before you say the word table, you don't have to check between the legs to see if it's male or female. It has.
There's no male and female in this alphabet. La is la.
La is la is la. Yeah, no ella, loster, das, le. Right. So he took the gender out of that. There's still one more bit of the gender problem that is in the process of being removed as well. But that one from the start.
Sure, it'll be the male, but that's okay. What?
It's a purple espresso, that's why.
What?
Li certe es problema.
See,
Yeah.
that's what my wife tells me.
There's some of us women are very patient. But I have to admit,
Mother Teresa, my mom, and then Nancy. They're gonna be very tight.
This is getting a promotion.
but we have to admit there's some reasons why we keep you guys around. He warmed up the car for me before I got in it this morning. Okay, simple grammar, 16 rules of grammar, 14 if you speak English correctly. So for most Americans, it's all 16. But there's no changes on that. Okay, this is what I saw David do 20 years ago at that conference. He's Canadian. So he took French in high school. He'll tell you more about that. French. 501 French verbs fully conjugated. There's apparently a similar book for Spanish, 501 verbs. What I saw David do after he held up a copy of that book was hold up an index card that had basically this information on it. And he said, this is Esperanto conjugated verbs. Greatly reduced vocabulary. Thousands of words are required to learn, become fluent in any language by extensive use of prefixes and suffixes and compound words. Esperanto's hundreds of words make up
Thousands of words. Esperanto's thousands of words are made from only hundreds of pieces.
You forgot her bifocals in the car.
And I said that from hundreds of words, it made up the 1,000 words in Esperanto. Dine auskultis min. Mine eraris.
Sounds like we're lucky. Did you tell him that he's not listening to you?
Right. Hey, we've got somebody who didn't know it was a language and he's doing very well. But he's a well-trained husband, it sounds like.
Northern Italy.
Yeah, they say it sounds like Italian. Beautiful. We've only been married 2 years. We're still working on what you and your spouse have. Okay.
It was from friends from high school. I hung around with a lot of Northern Italians, and I knew Italian. Their dialect had some similarities to my dialect, and that sounded a little bit like their dialect.
They figure it's about 60% Latin based. So there's French is less intimidating to me now after Esperanto. And you'll see some of the words here. One of the examples he's using here is the prefixes and suffixes. So you see 3 different words, mother, father, parent, that don't really have much of a relationship to each other. But in Esperanto, you have a root word, patro. P-A-T-R is the root. Ino is a suffix for female. Icho is a suffix for male that is the one that is working on getting out of the fact that when I learned Spanish, they said masculine is takes dominance. So if you see a word, it's going to be a masculine word, and it only includes women if you add something. Well, that's like second-class citizenship. It's not working. It didn't work for me 50 years ago when I started learning Spanish. And for the last 50 years, people have been working on having a suffix for both male and female to equalize things. And that sounds fair to me. Now, ge is a prefix saying, we don't know whether it's male or female, but if you have a gepatro, you have a parent. Male or female, you have a parent. Gepatroi, you have parents. You have a plural there. So similarly, with son, daughter, child, philo, that's a Latin, I think, for someone like affiliated or, that's like a brotherhood type thing in a sexist language. So you have filino, filicho, female and male, and then whether the children are male or female, if it's ge or gefiloi, you've got it covered with that prefix, and you're not learning new things. Good example of bon. Bon sounds like French for good to me. Not going to make it. Okay. So with the prefixes and suffixes, you have bona is good, excellent is bonega, and bad is malbona, and malbonega is terrible. So if we have another prefix or a root word, granda. So if granda is big, what would huge be?
We say grandissimo.
Grandissimo, and it's grandega in Esperanto. So you add a suffix to make it bigger. And if it's smaller, then it would be the opposite of big would be malgranda. And then tiny would be malgrandega. So you have one root word instead of 4 different words. And that's part of the beauty of how you can make 100 pieces. Studies show that 95% of spoken Esperanto can be understood after mastering fewer than 500 vocabulary items. So you don't need the 1,000 to get there. Okay, Davido, kvin minutoi plu.
Okay. So maybe we can skip to skip down a bit to question 4, and then we'll jump to 7 and we'll finish it.
Okay. So briefly, if you've ever been in a situation where you couldn't communicate because of a language barrier, very few people have said no to that one. The common language.
I think we don't have time. You have to skip that.
Okay. The 100th anniversary of Esperanto had 6,000 people from 73 countries with no interpreters. It works. Okay, so this is.
Go back to question 4. Okay. If everyone learns Esperanto, no matter where they come from, no matter where they go, people could talk to each other. This is the idea that inspired the creation of Esperanto and inspires most of us who use it today. Do you think it's a good idea?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. Okay. I think I've got 12 nodding heads, or pretty close. Okay.
Okay, good. All right. Now I think we can jump down to question 8 or question 7. Sorry.
The Esperanto Antawan part was a 1 minute shows his Calgary Esperanto Center having a really good time. Okay. Future, we visited a city of 15,000 in Germany where the second official language is Esperanto. So you'll see signs in 2 languages here in that city in Germany. And there we are. Chitiu Pajo?
Just go to question 7.
Okay, we talk about the UN has 6 official languages, Rotary has 12, but I met people in Calgary, their native language was not one of them, including a group of people from Sweden. So it's letting a lot of people out, making a lot of people learn English. We'll get to that one shortly. Question 5? No, 7.
No, just jump to 7. We haven't got time. Okay,
It's
so
really fast. Okay.
people have been promoting Esperanto for more than 100 years. Those supporting the Promise Project don't want to wait another 100 years. Many people around the world really do like the idea of an easy-to-learn neutral international language, but they don't want to learn a language that few people speak. So instead of trying to convince people to learn Esperanto now, when its usefulness is limited, we're asking people to promise that they'll learn Esperanto after 100 million people have made the same promise. If 100 million people all learn at the same time, first, no one's wasting their time. Second, it could be a world-changing event. In the language, the word Esperanto means someone hoping. With the strategy of first collecting promises, we think we have a chance to turn the hope into reality. Do you think this is a good strategy?
Okay, so yes, no, not sure. I've counted, so 3, how many yeses? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. 8 yes. Any no's? Not sure. There's 4 more of you.
1 no.
Okay. So 1 no, and then
And 3 not sure.
Okay.
Good enough. Question 8. We're trying to collect 100 million promises. Could we collect any from you?
Yes, sure.
Okay. We've got Stuart and okay. We've got at least 3 people. Okay. I'll get your name and an email address after. And these
Maybe I could share the screen and show the video of promises we collected in Rotary at the convention.
Okay. He collected over 100. It's 3 minutes of.
It's not that long.
Okay.
I cut it.
Well, I know you cut it, but we have that one person. What happened to him?
He was going to show something.
Oh, you cut it.
Time's up. Time's up.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
But you did have the one picture, and so we have that many people holding up the sign saying "Mi promesas," Rotarians in Calgary, and he's been collecting others of those for a long time too.
101 promises from 122 conversations.
That's nice. That's good. Yeah.
That's pretty good at a booth. Oh, okay.
Well, Sherry,
And
thank you very much. I'm going to quote that great local politician Eugene Whalen, who said, "Canada has 2 official languages, and I don't speak none of them."
Sounds like an American.
Fascinating because, Esperanto is something that I read about back in the 60s, and then kind of went off the charts for me. But I'm glad to see that it's still going, and that there are plenty of opportunities, and people are signing on, and anything we can do to improve communication. And I want to thank you for coming out, or as you would say, Duncan.
Duncan. Mia Plazuro. And this is Canada Honey.
It is.